Wednesday, May 21st, 2020. This is a virtual meeting. None of us are sitting together. I just want to quickly say, because of the way these virtual meetings are going, they many times get backed up one to another. So we are right behind another committee that needs this technology around a little after 6. So we're going to expedite and get the business done that we can. I want to thank Linda for compiling the questions. Let me back up. We need to approve the minutes for our last meeting. I entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved, Chief.
Second.
Minutes, last meeting's minutes have been, motions have been made and seconded. And all those in favor signify by saying aye, and we'll do a roll call. We're doing this virtual. Thank you. Julie?
Aye.
Dan?
Sorry, aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Thank you very much. I just want to give you a little bit of an update on where we are as of 4 o'clock today. We have 32 candidates that have submitted the information, and that's being compiled. And there's 1 day left on the process. So what's going to happen from here is that it's being compiled through the Nita Doucette, the town clerk, on a secure website. She is personally taking care of making sure that all the information is compiled electronically and also in paper form for packets for all of us. Those packets will be made available, I believe, for us early next week. And if you so choose, I think there was some discussion about sending things electronically. I'm looking for some guidance on that. I know I've asked for a printed version. You all will have the ability to see a printed version, but if you would like it emailed to you as well, I can see that happens. Linda, what do you thought?
I'm a paper person, but having it electronically is fine too. I'll just print it all out.
They're going to be printed. The packets I've instructed Anita, she's doing a great job. She is going to print 5 individual packets, identical 5 packets for us to review. I guess what I'm saying is if, in addition to printed material, if one of the committee would like it all also electronically, I can see that happens.
I would like it electronically, Chief, if that's not an inconvenience.
It is not. Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would too, just to have both. Thanks.
How are you going to? How is she going to get it to us, Chief? Do you know?
That would be, how am I going to get it to you?
Happy to pick it up. Happy to pick it up if that helps.
Yeah.
I think what I can do is either I will deliver it to each one of your homes, or you certainly could come into the public safety facility if there's no issues. I'm looking for guidance that could be given to you from there.
Yeah, I'm happy to go by.
Yeah, I'm happy to pick it up there too if it's easier.
Okay.
I'll pick it up.
And what that will be is when they're available, I will reach out to all of you via phone and email to let you know that they're available, and they will be able to be picked up at the dispatch window in the public safety facility. Moving on, I was happy to see this interest during these troubling times. I think that any administrator or town manager they're going to be up against it. With this COVID situation, we're headed for some real troubling times financially. We're going to share the pain with the private sector, so it's going to be interesting. Discussion on the process. I think we need to agree on, and I want to thank Linda for compiling the questions. I really was happy with the questions. I guess the question I have to the group is, do we want to issue 15 questions to these folks once we decide how many are going to get the questions. I think we need to think about that. We need to think about a number of potential candidates that we want to recommend to the board. It may be more appropriate for us to look at the candidates. Maybe there's 10. Maybe we'll end up with 3 that we want to move forward. So I don't know if we tonight want to. I'm looking for guidance, Linda.
I thought that our process or initial discussions, Dan had the good idea of giving 1 or 2 questions to them, to some number of the candidates, to get a written response, to see how coherent somebody can put 6 words together. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a really good idea, Dan. It's a quick look at written communication skills. I think it's a great idea. So these 15 are not all to go out in writing, or that was not my understanding. It was from this list, 1 or 2 would be given to, I don't know, the first round of applicants. We've got 32, maybe we get it down to 10, and those 10 get the written or some.
I think
expectation. The rest of them become interview questions within the face-to-face conversation.
Okay, and I would agree with that. So just to be clear, we're going to have consensus on, we're going to establish the number of folks that we are going to consider for recommendation, and those candidates would then get the questions, not all of the candidates.
The 2 written questions.
2 written questions. I want to back up a little bit too, Linda. It's my understanding from our previous discussion that all the information that we're going to ask these candidates has to be given to them from the discussion we had with the attorney.
No, we
just if we discuss them here.
Right.
We have to discuss them in public, which is why I numbered them, thinking that if we had a comment, we could say, number 7. See how much we can not keep it out to the candidates. I'm thinking, Dan, I really am trying to think about this.
You're doing great. You really are.
So I would think that it's the 2 written questions that would go out to the first round.
Okay, so we essentially have some time to think about which 2 questions we would send out, because we don't know which candidates we want to send them to yet. So I would say, there's a lot. They're very good questions, excellent information, and I'll even go forward in saying that the way to grade, if you will, the candidates was very, very straightforward and simple. I thought that wasn't confusing. You get into complex formulas and the numbers get lost. So I appreciate the work you did on that as well. Did everyone have a chance to take a peek at that?
Yeah, looks great.
But Chief, I have a little bit of a suggestion, if I could.
Please.
I would suggest that we either decide that the top scoring, X number, whether it's 5 or 10 or whatever, are people who are going to take to the next level. Or we could decide a score above which we will interview people. So that's 2 ways of looking at it. I'm agnostic on which. One thing I do feel, though, is that I think we should discuss anybody at or above a certain level, or if there is a discrepancy of any 2 of us of more than 3 points. So in other words, if I score somebody a 1, but you score them a 4, I think we have to discuss that, because clearly there's some kind of gap in what we're seeing. Yep. So my suggestion would be to sort of decide on what the cutoff is, and also that we discuss anybody with whom there's a discrepancy of more than 3 points, which would really be either somebody's at a 1 and somebody else is at a 4, or somebody's at a 2 and somebody's at a 5.
I agree.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you agree on the 1 to 5 points? Do you want it 1 to 10? I threw the 1 to 5 out just, to throw it out there.
I think my perspective is 1 to 5 is going to be easier for us to maybe come to an agreement on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Consensus?
Yep.
And then in 1 to 5, okay, good. And then as this is written, it's a 25 maximum points. So that gives us, there's the ceiling, it's 25. So I'm comfortable with that. So I think I would entertain a motion to accept the grading schedule as presented.
So moved.
That motion has been, Dan has made the motion, and a second on that.
Second.
Julie seconded that. All those in favor, I will do it by roll call once again. Julie,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Mike,
I,
and I am an aye. Motion is passed. So that's good. Excellent work.
Thank you, everybody, for sending in your questions, your comments, and just, I just kind of compiled, but I thank you all.
Thank you for putting it all
Thank you.
together.
Yeah, thank you very much, Linda.
So I would say the next step here in following the agenda is to get the resumes compiled. I will have Anita send those out when they're complete electronically, and I will pick them up from her myself and make sure that they're in a proper, secure form and leave them at the public safety facility and to be picked up there. I don't anticipate. I will certainly check with Chief Gilmet and Deputy Considine to make sure that they are okay with that. I will make the assumption that they will be. I don't want to assume that it's just okay to bring them in there, but I'm sure that that'll be fine. But I will extend that courtesy to them. So we'll do that. The next question I have would be, once you get the resumes, how long would you like to be able to go through them before we meet?
If we've got 32 already, I'm thinking we want at least, I don't know. I would like a little longer than a week, but I know we're on a strict timeline, but I think a week is aggressive.
I was thinking 2 weeks, actually.
Yeah. I
2
think
weeks.
it would be
2
good.
weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll schedule a meeting. I'll work with Linda to come up with a date, and then we'll reach out to everyone to make sure that date, because we really don't know what that's going to be. Just trying to look here.
just to give you an idea, Chief, both Truro and Wellfleet, 38 to 40 was their number. So, I mean, we're right in that ballpark of what they received.
Mike, do you know how many out of those numbers were brought forth to the boards of selectmen?
I know in Truro, Bernie's group tiered them, tier 1, 2, and 3, and they're working through that. And Wellfleet is doing background checks prior to interviewing their selection. So that's kind of where they are in the process right now.
So all the candidates are essentially going to have that will be seen by the selectmen?
Well, I believe in Wellfleet, probably tier 1, who they'll be looking at first. They're doing backgrounds on them. I'm assuming probably in the next week or two, they'll be starting interviews. And Truro just got their tier groups from Bernie.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll have a sense of how many that we think we should put forth. I did ask, and Linda did a good job of research, and I just want to just put it out to everyone that the Board of Selectmen did vote not to have the Board of Selectmen members review the resumes of all the applicants. So that question was kind of out there, and I thought I would make sure that is on the record, that we will review the information and submit an appropriate number of candidates to the board for recommendation, as a recommendation. With that, do we want to try and look at a date for the next meeting, or do you want to wait to see?
I'd rather set a date. I don't know about anybody else's calendar, but my goes Mine gets filled up fast if I don't log something in.
Right.
Mine used to, Linda.
I want your calendar.
Do we
It's
want to
still
go?
pretty full, but not like it used to be.
You want to go with a Wednesday or a Thursday as we've been doing? So
Yeah.
either the 10th or the 11th, or the 17th and the 18th.
10th, 11th.
We're gonna get them Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
so
The
I think we ought to be
11th.
ready by the 11th, right? I mean, if we have them by the, we ought to have them by what, the end of next week? We ought to have them by Thursday, which would give us 2 weeks.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The 11th
Yeah, the
is
11th works.
because I have multiple zoning board meetings. I have 3 on one night, day, and they're going to go for a while. So if the 10th works better for me than the 11th.
All right.
I'll make the 10th work.
Okay, great.
Good for me, too.
Dan, you okay with the 10th?
I am. It's great. Yep.
Mike?
Good. 10th is good.
Okay, 10th is fine with me.
And what I will do is when I get the packet, I'll fill in the names on this little review sheet, send it out to you. You can put your numbers in, then I can get each individual sheet back
Mhm.
and sort things and make them add, and then we know where we are.
Okay,
Now, just to be clear, Chief, because I'm a private sector guy on a lot of the hiring experience I have, we are not allowed or supposed to discuss this with any candidates or potential candidates or each other. Is that correct? Until we have the meeting on the 10th.
that is my understanding.
That is correct.
Okay.
Linda, yes.
So if any candidate calls you up and say, hey, why don't you tell me what question 7 is? Nice try.
My sense is they won't be calling me, so. No, I would agree with that.
Hey, Chief.
Hello, Scott. Can everyone see Scott?
No.
I just,
No, I guess I can.
I need to apologize to the group. I'm so sorry I started the meeting late. Please
That's
please
okay.
forgive me.
I would, you know what? It's too bad you just drove the bus over yourself. I said it was a technical issue.
Well,
I thought he was one of the candidates.
Hold on.
Good job, Chief, but no.
Do we have any more business for this evening?
Do we look at a timeline out past that, or just kind of, I know part of the agenda, you said maybe a date, we'd be maybe looking at getting something to the board, or is it still too early to?
I'm looking for some,
Well, can I ask, and kind of to back up before even that, before Mike's question is, so we get our packets, it's roughly 32 still, or 35 or whatever it gets up to.
Right.
We review them, we rate them. Let's just say, I'm just throwing out a scenario. Let's just say there's a lot of great candidates and, we're stuck at like 20, you know what I mean? How do you see us? I don't know. We'll have our initial meeting and then really try to figure out if we can come back and bring it down to, to 10. Is that what you foresee, or 5, or whatever we're thinking?
I think recommend 20 is too many. I would hope that we would recommend between 10 and 5 being preferable.
Yeah. Okay.
And can we back up a minute? This is recommend use 5 to the Board of Selectmen as the finalists.
Mhm.
But if we have 20 that we're looking at, we're the ones who have to get that down to 5, right?
Right. That's kind of part of my question, right? Is that I know we want to go to the board with the really top 5 as tops, right?
Absolutely.
Hopefully it's maybe even 3. But to get to that point, if we come to our next meeting after reviewing that first package of everything, and we just find ourselves, it could be good or bad, right? It could be that we get a bad group and we say, oh, geez, well, here's 5. Now we got to whittle it from there. But I'm
Right.
just saying on the opposite side, if we've got a lot of good candidates, then we really need to be careful and precise about how we get to those top 10 or whatever, so that we get it down to 5 or 3, so that we're not wasting a ton of time. Back to Mike's point, like our timeline to get to the board. So,
But we are interviewing them, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think the first question is, how many do we interview? And then we narrow it down, and then the board is going to do an interview with the finalists, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from a practical standpoint, just because of the limit, just because of this stuff, the trying to tell a meeting, I can't see us interviewing more than 10 at the outside 12.
yeah, good.
I agree. And yes, yeah. I mean, Julie, to your point, our responsibility is great. You know, we've been tasked with making recommendations to the Board of Selectmen on the next town administrator, and I know we all take that extremely seriously, and we'll have to use our best judgments as we've been asked to present to the board. But I think we can't do too many, because that defeats the purpose of having us.
Right.
So let's
Okay, good. That's really
let's hope our collective brains come together on maybe 3 or 5 to move forward. The Board of Selectmen also has obviously has their right to say, we don't like any of them. Go back to work.
right.
And some more.
Right.
Could I ask another question?
I think that we will have an idea of how many we're initially looking at once we take our first pass rating people from 1 to 5.
Mhm.
Yes.
If 20 of them end up with 5 points across the board, well, that could be a good thing. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. But I think that maybe some of these questions are in advance of actually going through that first rating pass.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
One other question that I have, because this is sort of the times we live in. A lot of these candidates will have something on the internet, a speech that they made somewhere, or when they were moderating a meeting somewhere. And I guess my question would be, is it rogue for us to look for that? In other words, as individuals, do we want to actually invite them as one of the questions to actually look at them in action on a link somewhere, if they have that? I'm not suggesting we do it, but I am asking because very often in this day of hiring, there's stuff out there, and it would be too bad if ad hoc we were stumbling across stuff as individuals. I just think we need to be cognizant of that. Again, we don't have to decide that now, but it may be that when we send out the questions, we want to invite them or offer them the opportunity to send us a link that will demonstrate something that they're doing.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. I think along that lines, Dan, I think you're saying, well, in other words, if you have an applicant that wants to work for you, would you do a Google search? Is that the type of thing that would pop up that is something like this?
Very often, and you know, if they had a prominent position that involved public speaking, almost always now you can find them giving a speech or, you know, in action, if you will, Chief. And I think that I'm ambivalent. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that we probably ought to have an internal understanding of what we're doing, just so if one of us does that, we all have the opportunity to see what that person looked at.
I agree.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
On that, as we come up with information from these from the candidates, we'll have to make sure that we have the technical ability, which I do not, to make sure that we all get that information and either can acknowledge that we all saw it or we see it together during a meeting. I'll be looking for some guidance on that from our technical people.
Or we ask the candidate if they want to volunteer a link. And maybe if we do that, we all would agree that we're not actually going to do that kind of search. I think a lot of that stuff is unfair because it's out of context. But I think maybe if they want to put their best foot forward and say, you know, here's something that would be instructive to how I comport myself in a certain situation and volunteer that to us, maybe we could all have an opportunity to look at it. I don't want to feel like I'm snooping, I guess.
No, I agree.
Why not?
Linda, I think the reason is there's too much crap on the internet with my face on.
Oh, there sure is. There sure is. And you're right. This stuff gets taken out of context, and you do need to be cautious. So, yeah.
Okay. So to wrap things up here, I just want to make sure I'm on the right page, is that we will compile all the candidates after tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I will touch base with Anita. She will make sure those packets are together and we'll get them to me. I will also ask her to send the packets out electronically to the 5 of us. And then we will review them. Linda, you're going to get us the grading chart, and on June 10th, correct?
Yeah.
That's Wednesday, the 10th.
Right.
We will discuss our scorecards. Is that accurate?
Chief, do you want to perhaps, we've been kind of tagging these meetings as an hour, and you're very efficient as a chair. I like you. We just get it done. But if we're going to be discussing those, I think it was either Julie or Dan talked about the gray area people.
Yeah.
That could take some time discussing so-and-so and why I'm a 5 and you're a 1.
Yes.
So could we target that meeting? Could you arrange with Scott that it would be like a 5 to 7 meeting to make sure that we have enough time to talk? Because I think that's going to be a meeting where we're going to be going back and forth on some stuff.
Let me touch base with Jamie, and we'll get in early on the schedule to block out 2 hours for us.
Okay.
That way we won't bump up against these other folks. I'm hoping as we go forward here that we're going to be able to maybe down the road here, the governor is going to lighten up some of these conditions, and we can sit in the same room.
That'd be great.
Distance, social distancing. But I just think this process deserves us all sitting together, looking at each other and communicating other than like this. We're doing this out of necessity, but it's not the best way.
So would you rather do this without a mask or be in the same room with a mask? Because that may be the choice.
With a mask is fine. Whatever.
I'm getting used to the mask, Dan.
Yeah, me too.
That would, yeah, I'm sure that would be the guidance. We should respect that and keep you and me out of trouble. We'll probably end up with a mask on, which is fine. But let's let's cross that bridge when we get to it. The next meeting may very well be virtual like this, but hopefully going forward, I would really think it would serve the candidates best in the town best if we were able to do face-to-face with these folks.
I agree, Chief.
I just feel that way. I feel very strongly about that.
Agreed.
Is there anything?
Just administratively, so we can find the names, because it's a big enough group. When you put them on the spreadsheet, could you do it alphabetically?
Is there another way?
You could do it by the date they were received, but yeah, or date of birth.
Alpha, absolutely alpha.
It was funny because when I got to the Senate, I asked the Senate president to every other roll call start at the end and go forward versus starting it, because I always got the opportunity to see how everyone else voted before I had to vote, which there's actually a huge advantage to that.
Yeah, that's really good point.
But she did not take me up on that. She did not find the humor in it either.
I'm just checking with Jamie now on this, on the 2 hours. Just give me 1 second here, please.
Right. What a beautiful day, huh?
So
yeah.
Tomorrow's supposed to be really nice, I guess, right? Tomorrow's
Right, yeah.
the day.
Although, Julie, it's one of those days that they say it's going to be 80 degrees, and then they say, except on Cape Cod, it's going to be.
Yeah. I know. My daughter said that to me, and I said, yeah, now check WeatherBug, because it's going to be like here.
I'm waiting for her to get back. She just said on the 10th at 7, there is another virtual meeting. So I'm just asking her how much time in between. She needs 10 to 15 minutes to switch to the next meeting. Could we start this at 4:30? Is that an issue with anyone?
No,
Works for me.
that's right. So 30.
So 4:30?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Jamie's listening to us now, so we'll shoot for 4:30 and do the 2 hours, and that gives Jamie and her crew, or Jamie, probably the crew, time to get ready for the next meeting. And I appreciate all that they do for us.
Good to check on that.
Is there anything else? Linda, would you just touch base with Mary in the clerk's office about the scheduling of this? Is that how you've been doing when you post? You talk to Anita or Mary in the clerk's
No,
office?
I use the town website, which is post agendas and post minutes.
Okay, I'll confirm with Mary, because Mary does a lot of the scheduling for these things. In other words, she will send me an email saying, your meeting is at this time, but just be cognizant that there's another meeting, after.
Oh, got it.
That's all. So I'll just touch base with her.
No, I'm following town process.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else? If nothing else, I just want to make a comment that this weekend is Memorial Day, and we should all remember all the things we have in our life today. And if it wasn't for those who gave it all, gave their lives to protect us and to give us the great country that we have today, it wouldn't be for them. So I would ask everyone that we, unfortunately, with what we have going on, it's going to be more difficult for everyone to get together, but we still all can say a prayer on that day and thank them, because I do.
Thank you for saying that, Chief.
Yeah, very important.
If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been made. A motion's been made and seconded. We'll do a roll call again. Linda,
Yes.
Julie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Dan.
They moved me to the end now. I had to open my big mouth. Aye.
All right, and I am an aye.
Did you change your vote at all, Dan?
We're all set, and thank you very much.
Have a good weekend, folks.
Bye. Have a
Have a good
great
weekend.
Bye.
Good weekend.
Stay well. Bye.